Alright guys, the moment of truth has arrived. Time to mate up the birds. Let's see if all the steps that we've followed so far, if they work or not. I have selected 16 cocks for this section, 12 of which I believe they have dominated their box, so I'm not too stressed about that, but I do have about 4 that are still iffy. I occasionally see them in a box, and then most likely I'll just see them on the window ledge. As you can see, I did remove the perches off the wall. I cleaned everything out nicely. So now it's time to add the hens. I did, however, build 8 more boxes in the hens coop just because of the amount of birds or amount of cock birds I have left that I'm not able to breed from. And some of these birds aren't just throwaways. I mean, some of these birds are race winners from this year. Some of these birds are breeders from last year that bred very well. Just simply don't have the space here. As you can see, I'm already maxing everything out at 16 pair. I will no longer be using that corner box. I may use it in the future for maybe an older cock that is more mature, but the last 2 years that I had Raven up there, I have not had a single good egg. The moment I lock him out, he gives me a good set of eggs. So he's just not mating well enough in that box. It looks large enough, but for some reason, he's just not mating well enough. And unfortunately, he thinks that's his box, which it is. But with that being said, if I open it up to another cockbird, they're just gonna start fighting, and it's not worth the headache. Close them out and bring him in. So shortly, I'm gonna bring in the hens, and like I said, we'll see if the methods that we've been following so far, if they pay out. I think it should be okay. I'm expecting somewhere around 80 to 90% success. Not all cocks are going to take the hens. Not all hens are going to be receptive to the cocks. But we're going to find out here shortly. Let me bring in the hens, and then I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright guys, it's been roughly about 20 minutes. I'm checking back on the birds now just to make sure none of the hens are getting scalped, making sure everything is okay. I did a quick once over, and I noticed about everybody except for this pair down here. The hen is an older hen. She's a 13, and I don't think she's ready to go. And I think I'm just gonna give him a young hen because I'm not 100% sure. There's no fighting, but I can't tell on what's going on. So I'm gonna keep. See, she's receptive, but she's not looking like she's primed. So I'm gonna give him another hour or so. Oh, no, get your butt inside there and see what happens. But everybody else seems to be doing all right. Cocks are in the bowls, calling hens. No fighting that I noticed so far. One other issue are these right here. So I got these birds recently. These are the birds from the auction we went to recently, and the cock is ready to go, but the hen doesn't seem like she understands what I want from her. So I think I might have to give him another hen. So 16 pairs, and I have 2 question marks. Everybody else is right where they should be. Calling hens, sitting in bowls. No fighting. There's Raven. She is, I think, an aunt to him on the mother's side. So I'm going to do a little bit of line breeding on that. See how that works out. But so far, everybody's okay. I just had a real hard time with this hen here. She was a double hen mating in the hens coop, and when I put her in, she was really not liking the cock. But as you can see now, I think we're golden. So 2 pairs are questionable. One for sure, I'm going to go ahead and remove the hen because there's no action there. And then the second one, I'm going to give him a few more hours to see how it goes. She's bobbing, she's accepting, but I'm just not seeing a lot of action from either or. So I'm going to give him a few more minutes. This pair here was real strong at first. Now I'm noticing that she's kind of shying away. Again, my biggest concern is they don't get scalped overnight. He's not pecking at her, so I think they're okay. It's always a big question mark when you add hens, especially hens that haven't been in this cage in a while, in this section in a while. as you can imagine, you know, there's a lot going on. There's a driving cock, calling, nest bowls. I just made the move. It gets a bit overwhelming, so just kind of want to pay attention. But so far, we are doing real well. Real well. We'll see how she goes. Once I know for sure they're mated up, and we'll go from there. But so far, like I said, I expected about 80 to 90% success. And right now, out of 16 pairs, I have 2 that are questionable. The rest look pretty good. So I'll show you guys what I did in the hen's coop. And I may have to add a few cocks in there tonight just to get them acclimated to the cage. And maybe I'll even add a couple of hens and see how that works out. So. Alright guys, as you can see, I couldn't help myself. I went ahead and added the birds. As this here is new to this section, I went ahead and took out those corner boxes that I had in that right hand corner there. I was really debating on whether or not just to add nest fronts to those boxes, but I thought to myself, you know, if I add nest fronts, there's really not much space for the cocks and the hens to mate up. Just because of the size of that corner box. And by doing it this way, I gained 3 additional boxes, 3 additional pairs. So I opted this route. As you can see, I couldn't help myself. I added 7 pair in here. I left 1 box open because I'm still debating on a few birds in the other section there. And with the exception of the birds in the top left corner there, they're all mated up. And mind you, these cocks have not been in this coop whatsoever. And it really does make a difference. The light, the manipulation of light is such a motivator for them that they took a hen right away and the hen accepted right away. Like I said, with the exception of 1 pair. And that's usually what I get, guys. I'll get 1 or 2 pair that just don't mix. No matter what I try, they just don't mix. I'll give you a short story. Last breeding season, I put a cockbird to a nice little red hen. And just nothing. He didn't want anything to do with her, so I went ahead and swapped her out with another little red hen. I really wanted to keep him on a red hen so I can produce more red birds. As you guys all know, I'm a big fanatic of red. I'm really a sucker for a red, honestly. But nonetheless, I put him on a second red hen, and same thing. The hen was more than willing, chasing him around actually, and he wanted nothing to do with her. So I got frustrated. I grabbed him. I just chucked him in the hen's coop. I said, well, whenever you figure it out, I'll give you a box. And immediately he started chasing a blue white flight hen. I don't know what it was. Maybe his previous mate was a blue white flight, but that's all he wanted. He chased that hen around. So I grabbed him, I put them together, and that was that. So I mean, that's just, again, that's just a short story of how some birds can be. No matter what you try, they know what they want, or they think they know what they want. So it doesn't always work. There are some times where maybe you'll have 100% success. You put 20 pairs together and all 20 take. But in my experience, you always get 1 or 2 pairs that gave you a hard time. In the other section, I had 2 pairs that were questionable. And of course, the moment I shut the camera off, the 1 hen started acting perfect. They started mating, successful. With the second pair, I ended up removing the hen and giving that cock another hen. Just so I don't waste any more time. Like I said, I'll put that hen in the background. I most likely will bring her and put her in that bottom right corner there. So, like I said, guys, I just want to take you guys along like I promised. So far, so good. We have, let's see, 16 pair in there. Plus, we have another 6 going on in here. Let's say 7 if those take. So we're looking at, what, 23 pairs so far. We'll have 1 more pair in there, that'll be 24, and that'll be it for the year, because that's literally all the space I have. I'm maximizing every square inch of space I have available for these birds. If you guys like the nest fronts and the nest boxes, guys, I made them as cheap and as simple as possible. Everything you see here was about $45, $46. I made them really quick. I basically just cut a couple channels in a piece of 1x1. Well, let me rephrase that. It was a piece of 1x2 that I cut down to 1x1. Cut a couple of grooves with my table saw so that I can get these to shift. And they don't have to last, and they won't last very long, because as you guys can imagine, those grooves are going to just be caked in droppings, and before you know it, they won't work at it whatsoever. And that's fine. I really just wanted to be able to lock them up for a few days to make sure that they're a mated pair before I let them out. But super simple. I mean, again, hole saw, use the jigsaw to cut those out. You can see they're not perfect, and I honestly don't care. It's gonna serve the purpose more than you know, more than the its overall appearance. But they work fine for the moment, and they do their job. So super cheap, super simple. I did it all in one afternoon. I don't use very heavy stuff. As you can see, I used basically 3-inch plywood. It's all stapled together with staples and inch and a half long pin nails. So everything's kind of just stapled together. It doesn't have to last forever, guys. Don't go overboard and buy a $40 sheet of plywood for simple nest boxes. I mean, it makes it work just fine. But it's up to you. If that's the route you guys want to take, that's fine. I'm just showing you the route I took. So I think we're successful, guys. I mean, again, I hope you guys have the same amount of success. As long as you guys have followed the methods of turning the lights on and such, I don't see why you wouldn't. But let me know in the comments, guys. I'm going to check on the other section to make sure the hens are okay. And I think we'll be okay. I'm going to watch that pair for the remainder of the night. I just really don't want that hen to get scalped. And in worst case scenario, I'll give him another hen come morning, and we'll go from there. Well, all right, guys. I don't know what's next, because this is really the end of the vlog. I do have a little breeding project I want to have some fun with. Maybe I'll take a few videos of that, and I'll take you guys along as well. Well, see you on the next one, guys.